What's up, you guys? Shanice here, back with another video. So today we're going to be talking about Coilycue's human hair crochet braids. So as you guys know, I used Coilycue some months ago, and I absolutely fell in love with the brand. I was able to do an install flawlessly, and I didn't even know that I could. I was just hoping, I stepped out on faith. But the install ended up eating down. So Coilycue reached out and wanted me to do another collaboration with them. The first one I asked. This one they asked me to do another install. So I did an install on myself. But while I was installing, I realized that I'm doing a self-install. So it's much harder to show you guys the exact knots and everything that I do with the install. So just consider this the Coilycue human hair install masterclass. Okay, so we're going to talk about all the different ways that you can install this hair flawlessly. Okay, the do's and the don'ts, the good and the bad, okay, the right and the wrong. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first, let's talk about the strand and how it comes. It has a little plastic piece at the top that is removable or just movable. It slides up and down throughout the strand, and then it comes with this harder piece in the middle. I guess this is where the strands are maybe joined together. At first, I didn't understand why that part was needed, but now I know it's really for the part where you uninstall the hair. It is quite necessary to have that little hard piece at the top so that you can uninstall and be able to reuse this hair over and over again is necessary. So shout out to Coilycue because you guys really did design a winner. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what I have going on this mannequin hair right now. There are 3 different rows. Two of them pretty much the same. They're just the braids. Now keep in mind, you want your braids to start a lot closer to your perimeter if you're doing an illusion install, which is what we're going to concentrate on, of course, today. But just for demonstration purposes, I did not pull it all the way to the perimeter because I wanted you guys to be able to see like how and where you install the needle, and those little tight spaces, sometimes that's hard to see if it's all the way up to the top. So let's just play for pretend, let's just for play. We're going to imagine that the braid starts at the perimeter and not further down the strand. Then also we have the row that is the braidless install. It's the one with the rubber band method. That row is used a lot with more box braids and stuff like that. But if you can't braid, and I understand it, like some people can braid and they can't cornrow, and they still want to be able to do crochet braids, this is an easy way to do so. Just make sure that your rubber bands aren't too tight. I stress that in just about every video that I did. And I actually did my full install on that row, that rubber band method. I used that at the top, and then I did a circular pattern in the back for other reasons that are not important now. But so just keep that in mind when you do watch the other video of my install. Understand that the top is done with the rubber band method, and then the back is braided in a circular motion. So you're getting both of these ways here, the braid and the rubber band method, which is what I used for my full install. So let's just get into it. So first, let's just get into the basic knot, okay? You can use this knot when it's not going to be exposed to the visible eye, okay? So, around the back, the circular pattern that I was doing in the back, nowhere on your perimeter would I advise doing this unless you're not going to pull your hair up at all. But, you know, any place that's going to be enclosed and you're not going to be able to see it is absolutely fine. To use this knot is no issue. But it's just a plain Jane crochet knot. With this hair, because you have that plastic little loop thingy that stops it from sliding around, you don't have to double knot it. Like usually if it's a loose strand of hair without that, of course you have to pull it through the loop, twist the loop, pull the hair back through to make that actual knot. But here we're just looping it through and tightening the little plastic part, and we're going about our day. That's all you have to do there. And see, when I tighten it, all I do is take the two strands and pull them, and it slides up the strand and secures it into place. No biggie. Now, if you have some like straighter hair, or for some reason you need for it to be a bit tighter, you can still do that. You can still pull it, pull it through the loop, twist the loop, pull the strand back through there, and then tighten it, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. If that's something you want to do, it's just not necessary with this kind of hair. As you see, you can still do that if that's what you want to do. But I just feel like looping it through and tightening it works just as well. It's just as secure and it's less bulk. So that's just what I prefer to do. But if you feel the need to twist it and pull it back through again, by all means, girl, do you. It's not a right or a wrong way to really do it. However you feel is what's real for you. Okay, so do as you please. And as you see, no matter what, you can still remove it pretty easily with that little plastic thing being at the top. So yeah. So now we're going to go into the classic knotless knot. We're going to do the same thing. When I pull it through, as you see, I kind of tilt the hair some when I pull it through, because I don't want that hard piece to be like at a wide angle when I pull it through your, you know, when you pull it through your hair. You want it kind of be at an angle so that it's a smaller, it takes up a smaller space as it's going underneath the braid. But other than that, that's really the only difference when it comes to pulling the hair through the braid. But yeah, you pull the hair through. You're going to do that one leg instead since we're doing the knotless. And then you're going to pull both strands to secure it. Okay, that's the basic knotless knot. But if you guys watch me, then you know I like to take it a step further just so that my density isn't so big. Because I know y'all have seen these crochet installs that the hair is just on 100. And if you like a big install, cool. Sometimes I like it too. But sometimes you ain't trying to give all of that. You ain't trying to give the Shaka Khan kind of vibes. So if you're not, then you can take it a step further to make sure that your knot is covered, to cover a little bit more space on your braid and not use as much hair, which is me taking the needle, piercing underneath the braid, but going through it when I'm coming out, and then getting the hair that's on the other side that has the knot, pulling it through, and then you have another strand of knotless on that side that you need it to be on. So use that method if you like. It definitely works for me, and it keeps my installs from being so big, and it has more of a natural density. So keep that in mind. And all the same, it's still easy to uninstall. As you see, we just loosening up the knot and pulling it through. So now that we've gotten the basics out of the way, let's talk about the perimeter. So basically what we're going to do is a regular crochet knot at first. We're going to put it, you can put it anywhere that you want to, honestly, on the braid. As long as it's on that row somewhere, doesn't really matter. We can go into hair lengths and stuff later. I will show you about that towards the end of the video. But for now, place it wherever you desire and pull it through, tighten it. And that's all you do on the first step to creating your perimeter illusion. So then after that, you're going to take your needle, and they provided a smaller needle. I would advise using that. I got one in my package. I'm pretty sure they're in everybody else's. Use a smaller needle if you can when you're working with your edges. But you're going to pierce the front of your perimeter, and then you're going to take one of those legs of hair and pull it through. And you can do that several different times. You can split that, the 2 times by pulling each leg through, or you can split the leg however many times you want to and pull it through as many times as you like. You're going to pierce beside it, never in the same hole because that kind of defeats the purpose. But you'll stick it in there and loop the hair in and pull it through. And then after that, of course, all you have to do is tease it and you have your illusion perimeter. And I'll show you what I mean about you can split it multiple times on the next go round. But that's basically it. So you can imagine if the braid had started closer to the perimeter, how natural that's gonna look. So, and you'll see it on my own install as well. But like I said, I wanted you guys to be able to see it very well. So, and see where I'm putting the needle and all of that. So I wanted to make sure there was room for you guys to see everything. So I'm going to do it again and show you guys. And then I'm going to pull it out and show you how to split it several different times. I think I do it 3 times for the sake of you guys' time and the length of this video, just to show you that you can split it however many times you want to. And the more times you do it, the more times you split it, honestly, the better it looks. But for the sake of time, we're going to do it 3 times and we're going to call it a day. So here we're doing it for the second time. And see here, I'm pulling it out. I'm just going to pull those strands back through just to show you it is very much removable. And then you will split it however many times you want to. So I split both of those strands in half, and the middle strands I put together to create 3, but you can do it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, however many times you want to. And then pull each time. You're going to take this little strand and pull it through to the perimeter, and it'll create a wider base and more coverage at the top. So you'll see that in just a minute. So yeah, you see the coverage is a lot wider than the other one. So of course it looks more natural that way. So the more you do it, the more natural it looks. But I wouldn't advise doing it more than 4 times. Honestly, because your base shouldn't be that big, because the bigger the base, the wider the part. And we went over that in another video. So hopefully your bases are pretty small, so that you can get a good looking part. Then after that, all we're going to do is install our hair over that, if that makes sense. Like, we're going to go underneath the braid and install the hair, as you see. And then since I'm going to use this like I'm creating a part, I'm going to go back in, go underneath the braid. But when I come out, I'm going to go through the braid and pull the hair through, and just makes it more secure than going completely underneath on both sides. Pull the hair through, and then when you pull it up, you have your knotless. Okay. And so we're going to continue to do that. And then also I'm going to show you why it's a good idea to have the plastic part that slides up and down. It's a good practice, I guess you can say. It's a good practice to pull it all the way through and keep it on the side that's not going to be exposed. You can camouflage it, but it's just going to be a little bit more work, and you always gotta like worry about it. Like right now, you see it's coming through, and if you don't move it, like, yeah, I'm gonna run that other hair through and it's gonna cover it, sure, but you know, when you're styling it, or say you're swimming and it gets wet or whatever, you might be able to see that little piece, and that can be annoying. So I'm going to show you, I did not take it off just for that reason. I wanted you guys to see how it looks. But then as I go down the braid, you'll see me start to pull that plastic part to the other side, and you'll be able to see the difference and how easy it is, like, to blend everything and for everything to just kind of go together. Okay. So just continue to watch and I'll be back. So you see, like, that little piece is at the top, like it's everywhere. Nobody's paying attention to it, you know. And sure enough, you can pull the hair up and you don't see it. And when you tease it, you don't see it even more. But like I said, there's going to be circumstances where you got it wet, or, you know, you're trying to flip, do-wop, whatever, and it's going to pop up. So I think it's here that I start moving it to the other side so that you guys can see. And then also, I know it's easier for the other part to be thick, but if it's small, like, it's going to be easier. If it's tighter to the loop, it's going to be easier for it to stay on the right side. And I show you in just a second, like, you can take the needle and pull the hair through if it makes it more difficult for you. But either way, you do it, just try to make sure that the plastic part stays on the opposite side of the exposed parting. Okay. Because as you see, like, you don't have to worry about it showing up, whereas you can kind of see it in little glances. Ain't nobody gonna be up in your head like that, shouldn't be. And so it's not like a huge deal. But if you're looking for perfection, then that's something that I would try to practice and keeping it to one side is going to be, you know, the little razzle dazzle, like a piece of it anyway. So you can pull it kind of all the way down till you get to a small loop. And if you can't get your fingers through that, if it makes it more difficult, you can always take your needle, go underneath, you know, like go in between the loop and pull the hair through that way so that it's easier. But keeping it on that side of the braid, like I said, is just Picasso. So yeah, then you're going to pierce it underneath the braid, come out through the braid, and grab that other piece of hair and bring it back through. And voila. So now y'all tell me that that's not eating. Tell me that that's not scalping. Tell me it's not scalping because it's really from the root. Okay, it's from the root. And we haven't even teased it. Okay, and so you would just do the same thing on the other side to create a part, and that's it. You feel me? Now this part, all we're doing is brushing. No, we are not going to shave it. I know we do that with synthetic hair. We're not doing that with the human hair. There's no need to. Okay, so we're just going to tease it. And now what I do is I do it on the other side. The part that's not exposed is where I try to leave all the foolishness. Okay. On this side, in our dear internet cousins' words, we can be real ignorant on this side of the braid. Now, on the other side that's going to be exposed, we can do a little bit of teasing, but not a whole lot. We don't want to act a fool because we don't want it to be really, really frizzy. And you know, I'm sure y'all have seen those installs where they're like, oh, look, seamless. And girl, it just looked like a jungle. Like, baby, like, no. So just tease it on the other side, and you can get as ignorant as you want to get. Okay, I like using a little skinny brush, and then I like to go in with my comb and pull all the static that we created to the bottom, to the root by your scalp. Like, that's where I like to pull it. In a minute, I move the camera, child. I don't know what I was doing right then, but it's gonna move in a minute. There you go. But yes, so then on the other side, you can go through, like I say, you can do that, but let that be the last part that you do, and do not lose your mind. So now remember, I told you that in my install, I use the rubber band method at the top, right? So let's talk about that. Let me show you what I did to create my parting with the rubber band method. Now, the first thing you need to know is each part has a base. Okay, each part has a base, and then you have the base, and then you have the part section. And the part section is not necessarily secured. And let me show you what I mean by that. So where the rubber bands are, they're on top of a base. That's where the strand of hair is attached to my scalp, to the base of my hair. And when you insert the needle and you have an area that has base, you're going to want to make sure that you slip that needle through the base, not just the strand of hair, but through the base. And then when you get to the in-between area right there where there's parting at, you're not going to have a base that you can stick it in. And that's important to know, and so that we can tackle that. Now, either way, you can still make an illusion, you can still install the hair, and it's still going to be secure. And I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So the first thing you should know when creating your perimeter, when we were talking about earlier about where you put the braid at, I don't like to cut this human hair. I really don't. So if I know that I want to have like some little tendrils up front, like a little bang or something, when I get ready to create my perimeter, I keep that in mind. I slide this hair like wherever. If I want to install it in the very back, it makes shorter tendrils in the front. If I want the tendrils to be longer in my face, then I put it closer to the crown of my head. So for now, we're just going to stick it in wherever, because homegirl ain't going nowhere. She ain't even finna get no finished install here. But we're going to install it. This one, we're going through the base, and I'm just showing you how we do it. We stuck it in through the base, which means I could feel that needle slide across my scalp, okay? It's not just in the braid. So we're going to take it, pull it through, and we're going to secure it all the same way. And it's going to be secure. That's going to be it. Okay. And then we are going to insert it just the same way we did with the braid. We're going to pull that hair through all the way to the perimeter to create that illusion. So there you have it. You're just pulling it through. And again, you can still split that several different times, 3, 4 times, to cover the base as you need. There's no change there from the braidless method versus the regular cornrows. And so then after that, when we are installing the hair, you still want to pull the hair through in a slanted motion so that the heart piece isn't going through straight across. You don't want to pull or snag any of your hair as you're pulling that hair through. So then we're going to move that little small thing to the close to the loop, just like we do, to make sure that it doesn't show up in our illusion. And you can stick the needle through if you can get your fingers through there and pull it to secure it. Okay. And then we're going to insert the needle underneath everything, but then we're going to pull it through it's not the braid, but through the strand, and pull that hair back through. So it's all the same thing. We're treating this just like we would a braid. Basically, it's the same thing. Pull it through and you have your illusion. And then you're going to tease it all the same. Now, let me show you what you would do in the areas that doesn't have a base, okay? You're going to insert the needle underneath the strand, even though there's not a base there. That's okay, because the more hair you add, to the parts that have a base, the more secure that strand is going to be, and it's not going to move. So you're going to pull it through. And I still say, even though you're not pulling through the base, I still say pull it in a diagonal way. And then you're going to slide that through all the same. Insert your needle so that you can pull the hair through easily if you need. And then you're still going to pull that strand through all the same. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to insert the needle underneath, but when you push the needle through, it's going to go through that strand. Go through the strand just like you would do through a braid. Grab that other leg of hair and pull it through, and you still have your illusion. See, still eating, baby. It's still eating, and you haven't even teased it yet. So it still works all the same. So y'all keep out for my other videos. Of course, I have my install video. There'll be a takedown video. So make sure that you keep an eye out and look for all of those. If you haven't visited Coilycue, go do it. I know it can be a little pricey, but because his hair is reusable and it's human, it just makes it worth every penny. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So y'all go check them out, coilycue.com.